that's why when we went to this album, I felt like it was my obligation not only to be more flexible, but to be that more adamant in making sure that we are not fucking good, that we do fucking great.
Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. Richmond rapper BlackLiq teamed up once again with Rhode Island's Mopes to create Choice is a Chance. In our conversation, we talk about how these two first connected, the technique BlackLiq uses to write in such depth and with such a quick turnaround, and how Mopes has settled into his production over the last few years to create with more intention. Plus, if you listen to the end, you'll get a tiny glimpse of what their third project together may be. So please pick up Choice is a Chance now at strangefamous.com and watch for it wherever you stream music on April 14th. Plus, both Mopes and BlackLiq will be performing alongside Jesse the Tree and Sage Francis on Friday, April 21st at the Met in Pawtucket. So get your tickets now for this historic return of some Rhode Island hip-hop legends. Can you talk about how you two first connected? Your history, Black, goes way back, and I want to, get to that next. But how did you start working together? Can you talk about that?
This is what the fuck happened, kind of like in a strange way. So I'm gonna give you like the super long, strange version, kind of too. So
Cool.
Back in the day, I met B Dolan at Atmosphere show because I went to hang out with Atmosphere up at fucking the Norva when they were in town because those are my guys. So I was hanging out with them and we started talking with B Dolan, and B Dolan was like, "Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage," and we all started talking about, as you see in the background, Nicolas motherfucking Cage, and we were laughing about it. That was a tour where Atmosphere kept a DVD player playing Jaws the entire tour, and so that's how it all came up at first. So I was talking about how I was kind of fucked on, fucking with Steven Seagal because he'd just gotten kind of bad, and not film wise as a person, and his latest films fucking terrible and awesome. But the shit got kind of weird. We hung out, we talked, and B Dawn was cool as shit. And like I ended up playing their music, and his performance was phenomenal, like just fucking incredible. So we all hung out for hours. They kicked us out to Norva after the show. Like we were there till like 1 or something like that. They're like, "Oh, we gotta go." So we all like hung out, then we finally walked out and everything together, said peace. And I just never forgot how good of a dude B Dolan was. And so I threw shows in Richmond called Face Melt Friday, and it was a bi-monthly show series at a venue called Strange Matter. At the same time, of course, I'm on the 2 different radio stations. So I had been playing Sage and B Dolan and shit, saying I've been Bear Mid and all that. And then it came up time for them to do the fucking tour. And so when the tour came up, the guy who ran the booking at Strange Matter back then, Mark, he was like, "Yo, these guys want to do a show here." And then he was like, "Sage Francis be doing." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here." And he was like, "Yeah, but the only date they can do is the one that you have booked." And I was like, "Fuck it." You know what I'm saying? Push my shit back a week. Let's fucking do it. Be doing, it's the fucking man. And I've always admired Sage. I finally get to meet this motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
And so I fucking gave the date up, and I was just like, "Just make sure I'm on the show, dog. Cause, they're legends. I want to rock with them niggas." And he was like, "Oh yeah, of course." And so let me click this thing up over here too. So I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this shit," right? And we did the shit, and it was like a semi-eyed show. It was fucked up, kind of weird Richmond shit. And I was just excited to meet all of them. I met Sage first, and he was in grind mode, and then I met Vito again, and we all hung out. The show was good. Niggas rocked that shit, and they got to see me in person do my thing and shit. And, niggas knew shit was real, vice versa. I watched their performance. And if you do a show with BlackLiq, you get a full fucking critique of your whole technique. So I hit him with all that shit too, you know what I mean? But it was like, yo, these are good dudes, you know what I mean? And Slug always spoke extremely highly of all of them. So, because I said, yo, tell me about these niggas. So fucking fast forward to the end of the world. And I get an email, and it's like, "Hey, we're working on this thing, like a Strange Famous and Friends thing." And Sage had been kind enough, because I was a big fan of DYMFS also. And Sage was kind enough to say, we want to include you on this project that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? There's a big pile of beats to choose from. And at that time, I was kind of like, I was not twiddling thumbs, but I was like, you know, spinning part of the globe and wanted to put tips on my fingers. And I was hoping I could drop it to find something new to pick it up with. And so when I saw that email, I was like, fuck yeah, let's just go to war. I had no intentions or idea that any of this would go on. I didn't know who Prolific was, you know what I'm saying? And found out he was behind the beats and shit. And I was like, straight up, which ones can't I use? So I'll rhyme on everything. And so I like went the fuck in. I sent this nigga, like, he was like, well,
which is so good.
Yeah, yo, I was like, what are we not doing? So I fucking got a list of them and I just knocked all that shit out like fast. And I was like, boom, here you go, like same week type shit. And then I was like, what else can we do? What about these other joints? And he was like, everybody hasn't been quite as aggressive as you've been, Black. And then I got an email from this guy also, and he was like, hey, because apparently he heard some shit. He's like, what the fuck is up with this dude? And we just started going back and forth. And I'll never forget, he sent me we were talking back and forth. And he's like, you know, it's like we're plotting on something. Let's call this the plot. And that's when Thomas and Price started out as the plot. And we went back and forth, and then we started to see that we had like a project together. And we did only one phone call. We had one phone call where we both spoke in our own sharp edges of things and about our non-fuck givings and our past, present, futures. And then after that, I was like, all right, I know who this nigga is. He knows who the fuck I am. And we got right back to work. And we finished it, and then we hit kind of like a pause. And then I was just like, yo, we got all this dope shit. And I was like, there's a project in here. And he was like, there's a project in here. And so we like just started experimenting with an arrangement. And then Sage heard it, and he was like, yo, there's a project in here. And we were like, yo, Three's Company, you know what I'm saying? And we amigos. So that's how it all started. And then after lots of weird shit, long emails from me, lots of questions, answers, and bullshit, we fucking got through all of each other's bullshit to the real shit. And that's kind of how we got where we are and how we have our strange relationship. Like, it's usually people are like, yo, I was producing with my man, she's my homie, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's how we came. And instead, it's like, it's great to have a relationship with somebody who, like, you know, with Mo, that is just as close, but it started the opposite direction. We started out as collaborators before anything. And that's really allowed us to lead with productivity. And in my life, that's like my favorite shit. Like, some people love chocolate. I love fucking working. So there you go.
Yeah. And yeah, like, from your perspective, Mopes, I mean, obviously, you know, BlackLiq just kind of hit on that, but like, from your own vantage point of what, like, how this stuff transpired, you know, what was that? Like, I mean, I know that you just, you know, when we talked, you know, a couple of years back, you know, when you released Unwound and stuff like that, you know, you were just working on some beats, but yeah, can you talk about, you know, before your EP and this kind of stuff when BlackLiq kind of came into the fold, like what, getting that interaction with BlackLiq for the first time, I guess, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, what Black said, the first thing I heard was we were putting together like a compilation, and he had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 verses he sent in or something like that. I'm like, man, this dude he's on it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just on, like, it was just intriguing to me that he was obviously hungry, right? So I was like, okay. And he was dope. So I was like, all right, we hit kind of like a lull with the compilation just because people weren't responding. It's so hard to put that shit together from scratch. So I kind of hit him up and was like, hey, what are you working on? And it was just kind of, you know, fuck, let's do it. You know, it was like, oh, nothing. Like, what do you think? It was like, cut through the bullshit. What are you thinking? And like, here's a beat, boom. And we just kept it moving, kept putting things together. And it was just, we talked about this on a podcast that we did, another podcast we did this week. And the song I'm Not Right was what really, like, parted the seas and gave me like, okay, this is who me and him can be as a duo. There was a line in there. It's like one of the first lines, and it talks about how his dad was putting beer in a pot and cooking spaghetti in it.
Yeah.
And that shit said so much in just that one sentence. And then he went back on to rapping on some fly stuff. And it took me back to like the stuff that I love to listen to. And I found a connection in that. Like, did my dad do something that specific? No, but I understand where Black's coming from, and I understand how Black grew up, and I found I had similarities to that. And I think being able to say some shit like that and then still flow and keep it moved, like, it's kind of what hip hop is to me, you know? Like, it's everything. It's a jambalaya. It's not like steak, peas, carrots. It's the whole shit's mixed together, right? So when I heard that, I was like, fuck, that's it. That's what me and him are gonna, that's what we're gonna connect. It was like real seamless because, like Black said, we didn't grow up together. Like, you know, we didn't meet each other at a show, or, you know, it just like we kind of came into each other's lives and the shit just worked. Yeah. So what when we had, I don't know, 6 or 7 songs done for Time Is the Price. I don't even think we had Dumb. Yeah, we didn't even have Dumb and Intro yet. And
those came kind of later.
Yeah, because what happened is I sent it as a courtesy to Sage. I was like, hey, we're just gonna like put this shit out for free. Check this shit out. And Sage is like, let's put it out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay. Because now it's like, that's different. It's different when we're just like, hey, we're just fucking, no, not that we were fucking around, but I was like, okay, now this is going to have like a serious release.
Yeah, this is a good thing, yo. Calvin got a job.
Yeah, exactly. So I whipped up Dumb, I whipped up Intro and sent them over to Black to kind of round out the album. And when I made those songs, and how, you know, Black is like, I send him a beat, he gives me a verse within 1 or 2 days. Oh yeah, no, not verse, he gives me the entire song within 1 or 2 days. And when I heard Dumb, when I heard Intro, I'm like, man, there's so much more potential here. You know? Yeah, okay. But I was like, okay, this is it. We're gonna package this up. And then when I was already working on Jesse's album, I was already working on my album, and, you know, me and Storm and Sage were talking like, why don't we'll do the Mopes EP, which randomly came about because I was working with Black and Jesse. So as a way to introduce them on the label, I had them on the EP with Party McFly and all that stuff. So it kind of became like this Super Friends thing of let's make this legit. Let's move as a unit instead of just moving as individuals. So since that day, I just feel like the label has changed.
Yeah, Sage talks about that too, right? Like there's kind of like a new like wave, like version, changed. Whatever 3.0 or whatever it is.
And I feel like I got, you know, with Black and Jesse and now some of these other folks, like, well, I feel like I got like a team I'm moving with, instead of like, you know, Black doing his thing, me doing, like, we're moving as a unit, and it it's motivating and inspiring. And and then, you know, just who Black is as a person, his work ethic, his energy, you know, he eats healthy, he exercises, like all that shit I'm into. So I just, you know what I mean? So it's like I fuck with this dude forever. You know? So, you know, me and him, you know, sometimes it's like we disagree, but we keep it moving, and we're just like, we trust each other. I feel like our trust now with the second album and moving forward with shit, it's just like we know we have our best interests at heart. We know we're both extremely passionate, and if we are in disagreement, it's because we're passionate. We want to make the shit better. You know what I mean? Or we don't think it works, and we're like, I don't think this shit works. Like, what's going on? Tell me, you know, let's work through this. So
we can talk about shit, yo. A lot of motherfuckers can't talk because they got fucking feelings in the way and shit. Yeah. Moses understands, man, despite his name being somewhat of an emotional state, this man is made of fucking steel. And he will motherfucking be real about his shit, and he ain't no bitch. He'll stand up on it, you know what I mean? He'll give you not just, I don't feel like it. He'll tell you why he doesn't think this or that. And he'll also say this, that. And my thing is, I'm not a person who's disagreeable or agreeable. He understands, like, I'm just straight to the fucking point. Yeah, like, I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to fail at something instead of being a bitch and running away from it. I'd rather fail at it, see what I can learn from it, see what he can learn from it, and then we'll keep going, because that's we're not looking at the step in front of us. We're looking at the entire race or the entire fucking course. And he's great at that. He has great perspective, and that shit helps a lot, because I've dealt with a lot of weak ass motherfuckers in the past, like, who just have put feelings in the way, or when you least expect it, they got some shit in their heart that ain't like about the future, and I'd be like, yo, like, nah, man. And then
you gotta clear the air. Yeah, clear the air in the
Are
morning.
you talking about like lyrically and stuff like that? Like, would you have like notes on that kind of stuff, or like what are some of those like disagreements that you guys will
Structure,
kind of
man.
structure? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like but I think the
Like the song structure, you mean? So like that we should have this.
just like, I think the second. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
you
think.
give him your version, and I'll explain how it works for me. So I'll give
Yeah,
him what
we
it's
should talk
like.
about Little Me, like because
Yeah,
I sent Black a beat, and at first he was just like and I'm like, dude, just
And you're like, no, that's the beat, mother.
I'm just like
I've been there
well,
before.
it's like one of those things where it's just like, give it a second,
Yeah.
sit on it, like, see if you can fuck with it, because in my mind I can hear it.
Yeah,
I can hear it. You know what I mean? And he gave, he trusted me enough to put some shit, and it's my favorite song on the album.
Yeah,
what song was that?
Little Me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Right.
So like
It's
he
such
said,
yeah.
It's his. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's the joint that like I came across my personal journals, not to say his level, but my own shit. You know what I'm saying? My thing where I'll be scribing, because I have this whole thing I'm doing right now for this book shit, and I was reading this shit, and it was about how like I had to get out of my own way and trust his thing, his whatever you want to call it. And he also made a compromise, but I said, no, I'm gonna do this joint for you. And of course that also meant I gotta fucking triple kill it because you're gonna fucking pay. But you know what I'm saying? Like that whole shit was like when I get a beat or when I hear something, I got like synesthesia shit, man. So when I hear something, I see some shit. Like for instance, when the final mixing process of the album takes place or took place, I didn't mix it with I don't do mix it with my ears. I do it like with my eyes, for lack of a better term. Like I see things in different places. Yeah, if something doesn't fit like in the thing that I see, I just have to figure out how to describe that in the form of sound. So there's a lot of fronts and behinds and besides and shit like that. And some people get it, sometimes it's a problem. But with these guys, they fucking get it. Especially Zola, he was great. But to the record sense, when I got the beat, there was a part where like I saw everything in the thing, and I was like, word, I can hop right in here and ride this thing with it. And then there was like a structural part that was kind of, I believe, going in the opposite direction. And that's sort of that conflict for me. Like I can't fight with myself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't fucking sit here and argue about the direction and momentum that I feel with something, or go against it and wrestle with what, that we're not shouting in the same direction here. You know what I mean? And so I try though, like I'll fail 3 times at this shit, and then I have to stop, because otherwise I'll start forcing instead of feeling. And I don't ever want to force a feeling or feel fucking forced. So especially when it comes to creativity. So we had this whole email exchange and shit, and a text exchange, I think, as well. We were all over it. And he fucking made a slight edit to it. And when I heard it, I said, word, like, I gotta respect this. You know what I mean? And then I have to kill it. It has to die. So I fucking I went there. But I mean, that's how like the process works for me. I've had so many in the long years of constant fucking writing, recording, and freestyling and shit like that. Like when I write, I care. When I freestyle, it's just what the fuck ever. And I'm nice on both sides of it. But freestyling is a place where, we have fun sometimes. We don't necessarily, I'm not to say that we don't have fun writing, but freestyling, you can go to different places with shit. When it comes to writing the story that we're telling, and what me wanting every single word to mean something as part of this bigger thing, all that shit is very fucking serious to me. So when I hear a beat and something's out of line, it's like walking barefoot on a hardwood floor with a nail sticking up. You know what I mean? Like eventually, even though that fucking nail's all the way in the corner of the room, eventually I'm gonna step on that motherfucker. So we gotta hammer that bitch down right now. And once he did that, it was all the way to the wood. You know what I'm saying? We went harder than the fucking floor. But all that shit to me, it's like what I see. And I see this expanse, and I feel it. And it's like, yo, I know we can fill this room up with some incredible fucking furniture and a TV and a video game system too. And some car and a Keurig. But the bare necessities in life. And we did that, and that's what's really great though, is like Mopes is incredibly consistent with creating those expanses that make me see those fucking places. It's very rare. It was very rare in this process that I didn't that I got a beat and didn't fucking hear the song in my head.
Yeah. I think there was maybe one beat that you were just like, eh.
Yeah, there was only one. And it was only because it just didn't feel necessary because of how strong Strange Famous was.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
They were arguing. And
that's right.
I felt like for us to be going forward, because everything, like, I gotta say,
So you're talking about the song "Strange Famous"?
Yeah, the song. Yeah, Mopes doesn't send whack beats. You know what I'm saying? I had my old producer type shit, everything. One guy would send 6 and 4 would be dope. The other guy would send 10 and 2 would be dope. Mopes is like 9 out of 10 every single time. And the only reason why I say 9 out of 10 is because there's one that's not for me that I know somebody else will fucking hear. But all this shit is fucking dope. It's like all fucking good. So like I was like, yo, this thing already said that part. It's like we've already told that story with this record, and I wanted us to be moving forward and pick right up off where, because it's like, yo, you're Thomas Price. Like, this is fucking bananas. Like, these niggas are crazy. How are we gonna go beyond this? You know, like, this guy's talking about his dad pouring spaghetti, malt liquor and spaghetti and shit, and then going to fucking prison for life, and him being in a fucking courtroom, and you know what I'm saying, and fucking cat stein and food stamps and shit. Like, how the fuck are we gonna get past this? And then talk about he hates vacations and dates. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? This nigga's crazy. And every beat is fucking nuts. Like, and everything, like, when the album was done in the roughest form, everything got taken up another level. What he did with Guilty was absolutely fucking amazing. You got this guy, Alan Hay, to play the guitar on it, and he moved some of the percussion. I only wrote half that song. I freestyled a big part of it. So, like, it was because I wanted to just go somewhere. And the way that shit ended up coming was beautiful. I got a lot to say about it because to me, it's worth talking about.
My father's in prison. When he got locked, I ain't missing. His trial went fast. That DNA match was the reason I couldn't testify. They said it could have been me, so they put my ass on standby. I had to wait and see. He told me I'm not guilty. In Rikers jail I used to visit, speeding over the bridge to the county at a rate of contradiction. It was risky. My conscience slowly twisted in the wind, just like the weed smoke while I questioned my existence. How can I win? The frayed relationship he and my mother had. Well, my brother, he had another dad, but well, you know what? Forget it. Whatever, man. In those days, I was so angry, somehow never mad. The hardest part was looking into his eyes, throwing that where he sat. Man, we ain't stand no chance. He and I, who am I? He said I'm not guilty. But why am I? Where will you go? Who will you be? What will you do when you lose everything? Where will you go? Who will you be? What will you do when you lose everything?
Like, that's why when we went to this album, I felt like it was my obligation not only to be more flexible, but to be that more adamant in making sure that we are not fucking good, that we do fucking great. And he brought it every time. Like, I had no choice but to step my shit up every fucking time. But he also just brought such clear pictures for me to describe for you guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with that, like, can you describe that process? Because you're talking about it, it's like these fully, like kind of fleshed out ideas. You have these like storyboards, but I mean, at that same time, Mopes talks about how you send back songs like in a day, like how are you creating like so quickly, I guess? Like, do you have these things that are kind of like backburnered and you're waiting for beats to come, or is it just once you hear it, you are like in a tunnel vision and you're writing like, can you talk about that? Like what happens from the second you get the email from Mopes, open up the file and then send it back in a couple of hours and you're like, and then Mopes opens it and says shit. How did he do that? And now I'm asking, how did you do that?
Okay. Well, like for instance, even like the sound of your voice and the sound of his voice have different colors for me and shit. And and so everything makes me see something. And then when I really got into that, as I've been, in my life, because this is a nonstop fucking thing. Like, this shit has been going on for a long time for me.
Is that a technique that you've learned, or is that something that's just in you, or is it something that you've like studied of like kind of like a deeper connection with things that are around you?
All right, Mopes, I never told this story.
All right.
We about to get into the stash. All right. So once upon a life of BlackLiq, right? In a realm of insecurity and personal deficiency, perhaps, because of an overwhelming sense of perspective, of perception, I ate some mushrooms, right? Now I ate these mushrooms and I was at my man Jim, and rest in peace. And I was at his crib with Giz, my other man's, right? Good old Giz. And we're motherfucking chilling. And a lot of motherfuckers don't remember when they do shrooms, but I remember the shit. And my test.
BlackLiq is determined to remember this shit.
Yes, my test, right? My test. When I went into the shrooms, I wasn't doing shrooms to like, oh, let's get fucked up, guys. I never was on that shit. You know what I'm saying? I was always like, yo, I've always had this thing. It feels like how could I like? It's like when on Instagram when you post a picture and you apply a vignette and it like darkens like the outer realm of the photo.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've had to vignette my fucking senses. So I used to smoke and drink to vignette my shit because my shit would never turn the fuck down. And so I was like, what if when I'm on these shrooms and I perhaps get past a certain levels of my mind, I can begin to think within the moment, a sublimation perhaps of what the actual internal monologue of this construct of reality and perception is. Because think about it, you see an apple, right? And you fucking see it and you already know it's an apple. It takes longer for you and I both to go, that's an apple, than it does for us to say, that's an apple, right? Like for us to articulate it, we have to not only form the letters and the words, the understanding, but the cadence, the perception, the point, the direction, all these other fucking processes are in the way. So what I did was I looked at this as a way for me to start thinking in pictures instead of words. Stop going from left to right. Stop looking at syllables, to speak from a place of it from the moment it's there, from intake to output, boom, like that. And it happened. Like it happened. I something happened during that fucking first time I tripped, and I began to see things in a different way. And then I started applying that to my life in every way. I stopped reading left to right. I read in circles now. I stopped talking in the form of, how can I say this? I just say whatever the fuck it is that's there to be said. You know, I speak in pictures, I guess, or I'm describing to you what the thing that I see is to describe the piece of the conversation that we're having, like I am now. So this fucking situation, I started applying to creative arts and stuff. And as I developed my flow, because back then I was like a closet rapper. You know what I mean? I was writing in March and shit. So like I started applying that. And when I started to see symmetry in beats, and I started to see, like, when I started tapping more into my flow through freestyle as my creative flow mind state, I started to develop more of a sense of like these places and spaces. There's colors and there's voids within percussion and within the symbols, the different instruments within a record. And so then I started to just see the symmetry. And then after that, I started to think, well, if I can recognize the symmetry and how can I be creative about this? What's the one thing I can talk about and I have to think about? Because a liar has to spend creative energy explaining a fucking lie. If I just tell you the truth about my life, not only will I be able to narrate and explain whatever the fuck it is that's going on, but hopefully it'll be relatable and I won't have to think about it because I'm not telling you a fucking lie. I'm just saying, boom, this is what it is. This is what I'm going through. So I figured, you know what? Creatively, I'm going to inject within the symmetry of any production that I get, this flow that's going to be based off the narration of my own existence. And so as I continue to build that, both in freestyles and in writing and whatnot, I started to cut away at the amount of time I'd give myself to do this. So I used to write one verse a night, and the third night I'd record the shit. We're in the era of 2 verses now, by the way. I'm sorry. But, you know, what I would do is the music started to really haunt me more and more. The more I start, like, I got to the point to where if I couldn't play a beat that I was going to write to, unless I was sitting down to write to it, because otherwise that shit would be everywhere. And it wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it wouldn't leave me alone. Because at this point, I'm hearing and seeing and feeling the symmetry of that. And it's a certain pressure, it's an urge, it's a desire. And so it's purpose. And so I fucking went and I started doing everything in one night to the point to where I can basically usually like chew up and spit out a song for you in 3 hours from I heard the beat to here's the whole song. And and I got to the point, there was a song I did way back in the day called I Work Hard, or it was called Hard, I think it was. It was on the Black Experience. And that was the first time I'd ever been at somebody's house and I heard the beat and I said, all I need to do is hear it for 30 seconds and I have the whole song. And he played it for 30 seconds and then I said, there it is. And I went home later on, like months later on, and I just fucking filled the spaces that I saw with my own shit. And then I just kind of let it happen. And now I'm at a point to where I write about 80% of a song and then the other 20% comes in recording. But that's kind of like what the process is. Wow. Over and over. Yeah.
And like you're doing like final verses that first take, or is it still, are they coming out kind of draft?
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
I remember being Sage, we were trying to get Black to either like, not necessarily re-record, but just to do like some overdubs. And man, that took, and like I appreciate, like this is the thing, like Black is unapologetically Black, like meaning BlackLiq, right? Not Black.
That as well.
And yeah, that right, yeah. But I feel like I'm the same way. And like when he was like, "Nah, I don't do that. I don't do that. Like that's not my process. I don't fuck." You know what I mean? I'm like, I fucking respect that because he's consistently himself, and it doesn't matter which way you try to get in the house. Black is there. Like I know that's not how we do it.
Yeah, like I
but
can do.
You did it. You did it for a couple of the songs on the last album, and it was just like we just want to beef this up so we can potentially play with it in the mix. And Black fucking made his adjustment to it. So, but other than that, he just does his thing. And like I think that's the magic. Some of the magic to it is that he records his shit in the moment, and that's it. That's the jam.
Yeah, and I know who I am, but knowing who I am means is also accepting that I don't know everything. So when I had to take a leap of faith in trusting their intuition to do what I felt they were asking me to do, and I also tell myself that I wasn't like compromising on my principles or some shit that I was fucking on, and it was really great. It really helped me a lot, and I brought a lot of that into this new one. Like a whole lot. I used to record to perform, and now I perform to record because of the way the world is. I really took that mentality into the process, and now as I'm learning the songs to perform them, it's been a really thrilling experience because now I'm doing them how I would have did it in the old way because I have to do it live. And around here, we don't do no overdubs. We don't do no fucking training reels. We get on the stage, ain't nothing but a motherfucking beat. That's it. Yeah. Just hit motherfucking play, nigga. That's how I do. So and people used to be like, "Oh my God, this man's crazy." And it's like, yo, like Tupac said, if you mean that shit, say that shit. So it's been incredible to fucking come full circle with this and have their influence now turn into an inspiration, and these records feel new in a new way of me performing. Like this has been something, especially since I've been running around doing punk rock now for like a fucking year. Like this shit has been really cool to go back into hip hop, having learned something, and have it be that it was something I learned from people I admire and respect, and I'm fortunate enough to be collaborating with. So like I'm excited about it, but yeah, them emails like, "Hey, Black," they can tell you no. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, saying straight Francis.
But that's it. But it's not like. But there are people who just say no because they're like, no, not. I'm saying no just because of you.
Yeah.
Or I'm saying no just because Black's saying no because he legit is like, I don't feel that right now. It's not. Yep. It's not any other variable except Black just being like, no. From
this
himself.
is who I am. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, man. Saggy tits in a strip club, yo. Saggy tits in a strip club. Don't get them fixed. Don't get them fixed. Don't get them fucked with. Let them be there. That's for who it is. Let nature be what it is. And they were there, man. These guys are my bosom buddies. They were my creative brazier, bro. They helped me lift that up. You know what I'm saying? And we came out right, yo. We put on the right top, the right kind of fucking shirt. We flexed them motherfuckers on y'all, yo. And I'm a better man for it, yo. Like real shit. So yeah, that's my speech on it. And also the caveat of my process is that like when I do shit like that, when I record, I can't go back to like last week I took my mom to the hospital, nigga. I can't say it how I said it because how I said it is how I was living it. I'm living something else now. But like if we're gonna squeeze some shit on there, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna put the brassiere on. All right, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going to get a titty job, dog. But we can go ahead and put a brassiere on. And so I got the best bra in the world, yo.
All right, cool.
Sage Francis and Mopes.
Have you ever been called that, Mopes? I don't know.
No, but
Thanks, bro.
That shit works.
I guess you've probably been called bra a lot, but not in this literal, figurative sense, But
listen, hey, however I can support. That's
there it is.
But yeah, Choice is a Chance is your follow-up to Time is a Price, which came out in October 2021. Choice is a Chance came out the end of March, exclusively on Bandcamp, and will be on the other digital streaming platforms. And
the 14th.
And and on strangefamous.com we got some lathe cut and some tapes and stuff like that. But I just want to talk a little bit more about this record. And, for you, BlackLiq, you've have a long career, like you're not new to this by any means. And, listening to your older stuff, you've just always been very autobiographical. But, I guess I kind of wanted to ask, like, why this album? Like, why now? Like, what, the stuff that you're covering on this particular record, like, why did that stuff come out, at this present time?
All right, so where we left off, like with the last album, was it was so half and half. Like that album for me was, I'm taking the old me that wrote like Anti and some of the other shit that I haven't put out yet, like that me with this new me on this next level. And a lot of the next level was Mopes and Sage and Strange Famous as a whole, because now I have to represent, and to have somehow fucking met the standard on that first shot, right? To the point where people like, because we were kind of wondering how Strange Famous's audience was going to like take me, because
it's
not
definitely
like the
different
rest
than
of
a lot of
you know what I'm saying? These niggas is all nice, but they're not like me, and I'm not like them. But that's what makes us work so well, is because Strange Famous isn't afraid to have like that infinity gauntlet. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point, is we're not playing by these bullshit rules that people have. Like you got to be this kind of artist. There's a certain thing about us that like I remember Sage described us as theater of mind, and I would lurk, like now that he'll hear this, but I like when Sage was the podcast, I listen to every single one of them because I want to know what the fuck he's saying behind my back. You know what I mean? I want to know.
Oh man.
And I want to know how he feels, because I dare him to not feel good about what we're doing. Because if I hear about it, I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna fucking let him know, like, this is beautiful and this is great. And his legacy, career, and everything he's done is astounding. But it's also, for me, it's astounding because he never compromised on being who he is. We have that in common. It's the truth of self. Fuck everything else. Like, are you? And Sage is who he is. And I love that about him. And I love that about his art and his career and his story. So having somehow had this come together by some random shit, I felt like for the next album, instead of it being like, a lot of people try to make an album where it's like, all right, I'm gonna do the same thing. Or they try to make it like, yo, I'm going bigger and better and badder, and I'm gonna bring in some broads to sing. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm gonna do some features and I'm gonna make this shit. No, like, I wanted to let people know that, like, nobody talks about when you get your first deal and you get your first life-changing moment where people really look at you differently. Like, which is what happened. A lot of that shit did happen. I wanted people to know what that's like. So, like, Time is the Price is last night and Choice is a Chance is the morning after. And I wanted people to see, like we said previously, you know what I'm saying? We went to like from fucking like sad happy to happy sad. And I wanted people to hear the stories of what happened the next day and what happened the day after that. I wanted them to know that I'm still right beside you, and I'm going to carry you with me when you're not willing to walk through this fucking thing that I'm going through now. And that life never gets better, you know what I'm saying, unless you decide to be better. And this whole album, from the first song we did was Strange Famous, like, just from what I saw and the brighter colors I saw, and when I heard that beat, I was like, yup. I was like, we about to make some shit. Yo, man, I'm saying Comcast cut my cable off and shit. I ain't had the internet for 9 months. Man, that shit broke my heart. Lately, I've been having trouble talking about my feelings, cause I thought I didn't have any. Who knows what I'm concealing? Even though I do deliver, it's hard what I've been dealing. All these scores came with ceilings, but I'm way about my mind. Do it once, do it twice. I don't often roll the dice. I just keep them in my hand just in case I need a like. I'm so special, I'll be spoken. I'm not fungible, the token. I'm the stick, I'm the finger. I keep poking, I keep hoping. I've been known to break the lingo. My word is never broken. I remember to remember, I forget it if I wrote it. I put eyes in this verse so you see what I've been saying. They portray it, I don't play it. I am not the one to play with. I work 40-hour jobs just to have something to quit. Ask an artist for his record just to have something to skip. I'm not sorry, I am sorrow. Ain't a fuck that you can borrow. I just landed in your city, y'all be out it by tomorrow. I'm Strange Famous.
Hey, I remember I used to dream and shit like this, yo.
Like, what is that like for you working with someone like BlackLiq, where, you know, like knowing his cadence, knowing that it's like an onslaught of lines and punchlines and like inspirational line, like all this kind of stuff, like what's it like working with him? And then with this record, it just seemed like it seemed more like crafted.
Yeah.
To
100%.
to Black, versus like here's some beats that I made. Jesse might rap on them, Black might, and it works, but like this seems like it's like this was made for this artist,
I think just overall as a producer, that's how much I've grown the past like 2-3 years. Is just that everything I'm making is so when I was getting ready to work on Choices of Chance, I already kind of, again, at the end of Time Was the Price, I saw where Black fit into the songs, like where I wanted to take him with some of the different beats, like just to stretch his limits a little bit, and then where I wanted to go to stretch my limits. So everything was handpicked for this. So like if every sample that I heard, like I'm picking, like I'm going to get records. And I'm like bringing the records back, and I'm seeing like, all right, where does Black fit into this? And I gotta hear Black on it. I gotta hear maybe where Black goes in the direction, and that's So it was like crafted from the ground up of like, here's a full spread, but just Black. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there wasn't any idea of someone else.
No, this wasn't like, someone. I sent this beat to somebody else and it passed. No, this was like every beat was crafted for Black.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I would think the success rate of I think I sent him 12 beats and I think I sent him 13 and 12 of them made the album. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And can you talk a little bit more about it? Because I mean, for me, like the drums feel like maybe subdued is the word, like they're not as like up front. Like it seems that the vocals are definitely more focused there. I don't know if that was more mixing kind of stuff, but like the kick drum stuff isn't as like bass heavy kind of, there's some that
a different person mixed and mastered it, which was Zoll. The first person who mixed Time Is the Price was Alexander Brown. So there's definitely a difference of style in how they mix and master. But I also got better at crafting the sound that I wanted it to have. Yeah. Okay. So like when I hand it off to Zoll, it's pretty close to being where I already want it, Yeah. Yeah. And Black is a storyteller in almost every song that he does. So a big part of what I wanted was give him that space. So I don't want to be overpowering him. Yeah. I want that. I got to find a unity in it. But there's some drums on there that are fucking heavy.
Oh, definitely.
But not all of them, right? It's like not everything can be, So it's
for like in the beginning. I mean, it's basically like just vocal pieces that you've kind of pieced together, right? And there's like a little kind of splattering of some drums that are there.
Strange Famous, you mean talking about?
No, there's a song right in the beginning. Is that?
In the beginning. Yeah. Oh yeah. In the beginning of the album. Oh yeah, exactly.
No, like it's just like vocal harmonies that you've just kind of layered. Black is rapping over that, and then there'll just be like a little kind of like drum.
That's correct.
Like accent point, but there's like no drums. Quote unquote, like no drums on it besides that. Like can you talk about what inspired that particular beat?
Yeah, so I mean, like the whole like no drums thing, which people want to fucking think that it just started a couple of years ago. It's been going on forever. But again, it's I'm not gonna do a whole album of no drums, but I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my version of what I hear Black on with this style. See where we can take it. You know what I mean? And when I heard that sample, I was like, man. Like that, the voice, like the ba-da, ba-ba-ba, like the vocals kind of had their own little percussion going to it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I could throw drums on this, but I was like, it feels forced. And that's the only way I won't put drums on it if it feels forced in the sample. If it feels forced in the song. So it's like, this feels like a no drum song. So let me see what Black thinks and see if you can fuck with it. And then I actually think I added some fills in, like once he sent, because what happens is I usually send Black a beat, he'll do his thing on it, and then I'll come in and I'll put some like accents, some other elements in there just to kind of polish off the song. And I think that's what I did. I just added some fills here and there, but yeah. Same thing with the Dogs That Bark That Don't Bite. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I hear Black all over this, and it was already after. I think we did Little Me. We had a couple. It was like 4 or 5 songs already in the chamber, and I was like, I want to send him this and just see where the fuck he goes with it, because the BPM's like 102. You know what I mean? It's like a completely opposite, like just outside of the spectrum, and fucking Black comes through and just kills it. And I love the way, because that's the thing, like there aren't a lot of people there's no one that sounds like Black and that are going to move in the direction that he moved in. So when he was just like this list of complaints, I'm like, this shit's fucking perfect. You know? So.
And do you did you write this album as a as a batch of songs, or like what is it like for you? I mean, we talked about, you know, how BlackLiq responds to this stuff, but did you create this as like one big package, or did you come up with
this is like
time, over a bunch of months or whatever, and be like, here's one song, or here's one beat, Black gets back with one song, and then
me and Black work fast. So I think within 2 months we had like, I don't know, 11 songs done. Okay. So, which is extremely fast. But I like to handcraft this stuff, because when I'm in the moment and the energy between us is going, that's when I'm in it. It's like, I'm in the kitchen, man. I'm in the kitchen and I'm just like, okay, we got this over here. All right, let me cook up something over here. Let me cook this. Like, you know, so that's how I can shape the shit in my mind. And again, like I can hear Black on these songs, but I don't know what the full, like what the specific order is going to be, but I know what the spread's going to be. You know what I mean? I just don't know when it's going to be, how it's going to be served, kind of a thing. And like all these food references is the only way I can put it clear, like, how I can describe it is like what's going on in my head. That's that's kind of how it is. It's just like I got all these plates with stuff on it, and if I just like sent him 12, like all that energy is just to me in my mind is just wasted. You know? Because then it's just like I'm shoving all these beats to Black, and that wasting me then, because like I know how me and Black can work, and it's just this give and take. You know what I mean? Where if I work with somebody else who's really slow and likes to take their time, I might send them a batch, you know?
Okay.
But with Black, to me, it doesn't work like that. Like the energy has to be the back and forth of like him sending, like me sending a beat, him sending something back, like, oh shit. Okay, now we're going to do it. Okay, we're going to go over here. And it's like, I'm whipping up something and I'm sending it to him. So it's very like in the moment, kind of a work in progress. Cause it's not like, yo, Black, let's start working on a record, and then a year later, we have shit done. It's not like, let's get this shit done and then put it out when it's right, kind of thing.
Figure out the process of using it.
It's like it's some alcoholic shit. Like, you ever drank with somebody that you drink with?
Oh yeah,
like, and they're like, it's like, yo, take a shot. It's like, all right, now you take one. Let's both take one, and we just got real fucked up.
Yeah, I think we bring out this passionate side of like, let's go.
And we're getting straight to it right now.
And it's just we're pushing it. I mean, I can see like sports too. It's just like we're pushing each other to be better, and I think it's get caught up kind of in like that rush and that excitement kind of a thing, you know. So it's fun.
That's good.
It's fucking
it's
awesome.
good. Yeah, exactly. It's like some people that you just some people you're like, oh, I think that these two would work well together, and sometimes their energies just don't mesh. And that's the same thing with me. Like there are folks that you just, it's like we just can't get on the same page. And, Black and I were somehow like we just made it fucking work. Without really getting like we got to know each other in this really interesting way. And it worked. So just like, all right, let's do it.
And that's the with that knowing each other. There we go. With that knowing each other, it's produced a trust, and that's really what I love most about our process is like I can trust him with like when in the beginning that song he was like, hey, I remember there was just one question. How do you feel about beats without drums? That was it. That is in the beginning. It was just, so to me that's what that song is. It's like, oh, how do you feel about beats without drums? And then I got a beat, and then I heard the beat, and it made me see black and red and rose shapes. So I was like, oh, this got to be about that. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, everybody writes songs because I don't make thematic songs. Everybody writes songs that are about like yeah, everybody wants to tell you about the good parts and shit, and it always ends in a. It's always about the end, you know. Like right now in pro wrestling, they're like Cody Rhodes finished the story, and Triple H came back and said the story never ends. And I wanted people to have that feeling of in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I wanted people to know, like, not the honeymoon phase. That's different. I'm talking about how does one of the most important life-changing relationships, you look back in life and you say, how the fuck would I feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how would I look at it now? And how can I tell that story and hopefully make people feel that? And that's I heard and saw all that the instant I heard that shit. And I was like, I gotta get this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? How dare he? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna send me a rose, I'm gonna send you some thorns. And then, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna put it in a pot together after we dig a hole and bury it. Bury it deep in the blood. And like that kind of stuff is it's a privilege. I couldn't write that song with somebody else because I feel like that song was married, whether he knows where it came from in his world, it was married. Yeah, I mean, you think about this. This is what I'll say. At the end of that beat, at the start, it had like when we first in the Raw film, it had fucking Scott Steiner talking about beating people up.
I was about to bring
Oh, really?
He's
like,
yeah.
I was pretty good at just beating people up. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, some shit like that. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, I mean, love, Big Booty Daddy, of course, man. Two things, freaks, peaks. But still, you know what I'm saying? When I heard it, I was like, yo, like, I'm gonna tell this story because that's all I hear in my mind. And you gotta think, a man who's made of stone, not Stone Cold Steve Austin, but motherfucking Scott Steiner, Big Bad Booty Daddy. This man is about love, you know? So
All
like,
right.
I'm going there, yo. I'm putting on the chainmail hat on top of the dreads. And I'm gonna fucking walk out and I'm gonna flex. You know what I'm saying? And I gave y'all freaks and peaks. You know what I mean? That was it. That fucking song, and that's one of my favorite ones. People don't expect that kind of shit from me. I remember I shared that with Slug, and he was like, it's always great. He said, I love when you write about relationships. Like, I don't like it when most people write about relationships, but for some reason, I just really like it when you do it. And I was like, that's cool. Fucking interesting. You know what I'm saying? That's the interesting thing. Now, he and I have a lot of discussions about like creative shit and why I'm not like a sunny person. So whenever I can throw him some shine, I try to make sure he understands there's no shade. And when he responds and says like, hey, I see the light in this instead of just the constant dark of your strange ways, like, yo, that shit means a lot to me, man. And I hope other people will hear that song and as they continue to, they'll maybe fall a little deeper into love, because you only get to fall in love for so long. Once you hit the ground with love, it really becomes fucking hard. Because falling feels just like flying. And sometimes you don't know which is which. And then when you find out you were falling the entire fucking time, it's like, what do I do now? That person might fucking land on top of you or walk all over you. It's rare that someone you love is going to pick you back up. You got to pick each other up and get back up there, and hopefully you'll fall again.
It's crazy, right?
I fell in love.
I don't even really be on it like that.
I fell in love.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, though.
I fell in love. When I was at my lowest, I said a prayer to God. I asked that I be given what I need instead of want. I heard his AC single, I almost dropped my 40. I left the studio with more than a recording. First time that I suggest we spend time, said come over. I won't repeat the words, I assure you, it was vocal. I get nervous and aggressive, people get submissive. She accepted my request, unexpectedly dismissive. No ordinary misses, my path is full of misses. I won't plotting on no kisses, had no plans of hitting, I was smitten. Shorty made me smile like some kittens. We watched television, slurred speech and blurred vision. I asked about her life till her story chose to listen. In turn, she asked about me and ignored my dirty kitchen. The type of game I'm dishing, we should get some fried chicken. When she suggested that, I said this is something different. Then right after she left, it was her I started missing. Damn, I fell in love.
I couldn't believe it, man.
I fell in love.
They had me staring at my phone.
I fell in love.
A track that really stood out to me, I think it was actually the lead single, was How I Did It. if I remember right, that was the first one that came out. But that one just it hits for me. So I just wanted to learn a little bit more about that particular track. Like, how did that one come together, the beats, and then what was kind of going through your head when it came, and then what was it like? I don't know what the process is for Strange Famous of picking singles and stuff like that, but what was that like with Sage and Strange Famous and stuff like that, saying that this is the one that we want to put out first, and capture people with the follow-up.
Yeah, so I would love to hear how that beat came across. I have no fucking idea where that beat came from.
Because it's an interesting one. It's kind of staggered, echoey, kind of.
Yeah, I don't remember what order that beat came in. It was definitely one of the middle, like 6, 7, 8. Yeah. I don't know. It's like it's weird because one of the things that people have told me is a compliment is that I have my own style.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I don't sound like anybody, and I take that, so I just hear things different. If you heard where the sample, it's like 3 seconds. There were 2 parts of it that like the 2 main parts of the sample. Yeah. Like the one was like the part I was like, this is where Black's gonna rap, and this is gonna be the intermission part. But not the intermission, but the hook. And I just had that like those drums have that like kind of Mad Libby Dilla kind of feel going on in there. And I don't know. I heard Black on it. I was like, this shit's dope. Here you go. So.
It made me see like khaki brown, caramel brown and blue. And so I was like, these 2 colors, not like a Blockbuster Video outfit kind of thing, but like these 2 things or Best Buy, but like these things go together like in a certain kind of way. And the blue made me feel like sky, and that's why it was written with the space. And I was like, this would be a great record because I already know I'm a body every joint on this joint, and I don't want a cannabis man that rhymes 1,000 bars. And I was like, yo, this joint's got enough to it to where I can let it breathe more. And I was also like, we're really breaking boundaries here. I was like, what if me, the guy who's like very dedicated to filling spaces, instead rhymed around those spaces and filled those spaces with fuck it. So cause I was like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? And so I felt like I needed to give people, it felt like an intermission, like a transition type record. And I wanted to give people some space and myself some space too. So I started thinking in the sense of like, all right, like let's write this in little pieces. And in Magna Carta Holy Grail, like Jigga, his whole trick, like I used to ruin that album for people, because if you listen to that album and you realize it's Jay-Z's album, where basically he'd rhyme like 4s and 6s and then say and reset the scheme, like it was the most transparent he's ever been, in my opinion, about how he writes in his head. Because most of his verses is just little small. It's like croutons of Jigga Man croutons. You know what I'm saying? But it's still a word salad. But it's like Jigga Man croutons. And when I be with people, and especially when that shit came out, but like you don't hear all these and he's resetting, and it would ruin the album for people because they realize, oh shit, like that's like the majority of this album is just him rhyming 4 lines. And so I was like, if Jigga can break things up like that, and it's brilliant because it allows you to reset your scheme, and it also allows you to pack so many different worlds into the lyrics, because I don't have to tell you end to end what this thing is. I can say there's a cat over there, and then I can be like, oh, that person sucks. You know what I'm saying? And I can be like, that bitch's breath stinks. Like I can do all these things, right? And I can be like, my day sucks. Like all these different things. And what is our mind when we get into those moments where we have a lot of shit that we're just trying to say fuck? It's overwhelming. It's never a related assortment to anything. Like it's not like this ingredient to that ingredient. It's a random assortment of bullshit. That's every day. So I was like, I'm gonna do a song for that. And then on top of that, that song, whenever I do decide to really incorporate it into like a set, is going to be extremely fun to perform, because it's more like how the punk stuff is. Like the breathing spots create force, even though the spaces in like Armageddon time shit is real tight. There's so many spaces and there's so many opportunities for engagement, and also just like they asked me, what do you call it? I got like so much on my mind, but they asked me about my hair. This is not free form. This is I don't care. I don't need a loctician. My mind been twisted. I dress insipid at best indifferent. If it itch, I scratch. If it scratch, I itch it. It's like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like right after that, you know what I'm saying? You got the space. You can point. I love fucking with people when I perform. So like I can literally say all that, go up to somebody and poke them and say, fuck it. And I will poke you. You know what I'm saying? So like there's stuff like that in my mind that song just created. Like it was just so many opportunities and like so much of it, the way the horns hit together and then it had the female vocal inflection in parts. Like it had such strength yet compassion to it that I didn't want to get in the way of that. It was like a trampoline. I wanted to bounce off of that shit. And so like that's why that's the only song on the album that sounds like that. And I was super surprised given the debate in like the final arrangement process. I was super surprised when we did one of our like, let's do a conference calls.
Yeah.
That fucking that Storm was like, so I think we should start with this one. And I was like, I was standing in my driveway and I was like, what the fuck? And then I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but remember we were talking about the track list, that one and
the what?
The what? Yeah. Someone suggested that we cut, and we were just like, I remember I went to Black. I'm like, do we want to just cut it and move on? And Black's like, fuck no. Like these songs are dope. Let's keep them on. We pushed back, and I don't know what I was thinking. Like that was one of those moments where I was like, I had to take my advice from Black of like, I gotta like not respond or not just like give in, but like let it sit. And if I feel strongly about it, I gotta push back.
And we moved it though. We moved
it, and then it worked. Yeah.
It was one of them situations also where the original arrangement of the track list, it was in a different place and it made the song different. And then once we added the next two records that we put together and rearranged those records, it made so much more sense. Yeah, and it felt even better. And I also was just like, we didn't choose one song and then we cut another song off Thomas Surprise called The Stairs, and which is on the physical version of it, but not like on the internet. And it's on Bandcamp, I think, maybe at the end. But like the Stairs, I was the one who was like, I want to leave it. And then right after that, I was like, fuck it, cut it off. You know what I'm saying? Let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to fight with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'd rather you rewind than fast forward.
Less is more.
Yeah. And so we cut that jump, but I really loved the lyrics on it. And I made a personal note. Next time, make sure you remember that you compromised this time. And not like, oh, I gave that to them. But I mean that I compromised myself and I suppressed some of that. And so that this time I looked at it from, well, let's look for another way and let's not be absolute about it. And instead it ended up working, to a point of like, yo.
Like, I also love the hook.
Yeah.
Like, don't ask me how I did it. Ask me how I do it. I'm still going through it. So fucking simple book. I think that to me, that song's like simple complex. Like it's simple in its structure and simple but it's dope. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just hits on like being present and a lot of other stuff. In the track Words from Black, you talk about sharing yourself and you do this a lot. I mean, it's like from what I've seen from the research I've done, like it's who you are. I mean, you do these sort of like daily affirmations, if you want to call them, you've spoken at TEDx, you teach. Can you talk about, why it was important to have that track there? And then just a little bit, just kind of quickly, just more broadly about, what that drive is to speak so like directly and bluntly with the intention of helping people, like a lot of people don't like that. There's a lot of kind of like coddling and be like, oh, things will be all right, and you come out and be like, no, like change this or shit will change, like whatever else, so
that was Mopes' creative choice as far as like that sequencing and because we just did like a Zoom conversation and he took something. And I think the original idea was like kind of like because like on the last one, he had the joint that was from when I gave the speech at the protest, and that speech got me in Washington Post and then on NPR, then like a Time, like I was part of a Time interview thing and with a quote and shit. It's like all these cool fucking things happen from it. So like I felt I was cool when he was like, yo, I want to do something similar like this, and he added it in there and he chose that and I'm not good at this is fucking stupid sounding, I guess, but I'm not good at seeing myself. Like, just like I say on therapy, you know what I'm saying? When I look into the mirror, I don't think it's my reflection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not good at seeing myself because I don't feel like I'm this. So the with that doesn't mean that this is disposable. My being and my existence is if I'm not going to like have children and I'm not going to like indulge in ego and in creating fruitless bullshit, what I can do is at least try. I decided a long time ago what I can do at least is try to share the story, because the story only betrays you when you hold back.
Mm-hmm.
So if I share it 110% of myself with people, then I just choose my discipline. I'm a motherfucker who looks at a list and knocks the list out. Like, I'm a person who doesn't just say I quit, I just stopped doing shit. You know what I'm saying? I quit drinking, I just stopped. You know what I mean? I didn't fucking necessarily work a regular program. And then 2 months later, I was like, I'm gonna stop smoking weed. And I fucking did. And I haven't since. And it's like, if I can show people these things are possible, and all it costs me is being honest with them, and I get to do it as part of my passion and through my art, and like, I get up every day and I don't feel like being here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like fucking getting up on Monday mornings and going to teach middle schoolers. I don't fucking feel like doing anything, honestly. You know what I'm saying? But it's not about how the fuck I feel about it. It's what I'm here to do. It's my compelling and compulsion. This shit calls me and it pulls me. And so that's why, you know, saying the choice is the chance, because I choose to do this shit because this is my only chance to be this. And when this ends, whenever it ends, I'm gonna want to have done, like, I watched a Rambo movie, the one in Burma, and on the special features on the Blu-ray, Stallone talked about how he gives him 100% of himself in every take, regardless of whether or not he thinks it's gonna make it into the final cut. He gives 100% of himself because he remembers the time he sat in the theater and he saw himself in a movie and he knew that was a take that he did where he wasn't 100% in it. And he was like, you got to give all that. And that's you shouldn't try to be what you are only when people are watching. And so that's who I am. And I try to help people live with the unconventional truths and the unconditional truths, and the fact that you have to deal with who you are. At the end of the day, like, you can shit on self-help, but you got to help yourself. And if I can help people fucking get through their bullshit by being myself, then, like, what's the problem? Like, why would you not want to do that? You know, like,
I'm gonna jump in real quick just because to go back to the interlude is that so I heard somebody ask Black a question. What is he listening to? And Black's like, I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm gonna tell you how you should live right. You know,
that's awesome.
And that's how Black is, man. So for that part of him needs to be on the album, separate from his music. That was one of the things that we did. Time is the Price, and that was one of the things we wanted to keep going for this album, because I mean, Black's got good advice, and Black lives by his advice.
Your social panels are
shit. Yeah, and he believes in it. Helpful. So it's like there's a part of him, and then it helps break up the album and move in transitions. You know, and that's where, because the first one was Words from Black, and I think this one's Words from Lick. Or what was it? Where's like the first one?
But there's one that's on Time is a Price as well. That's
the same deal, which is like, I wanted to show that side.
Yeah, what is Words from Lick, and now it's Words from Black.
Yeah, so because that's a huge part of who he is as a person. Yeah, I mean, exactly, flipped it. But as I said, that's a huge part of who he is as a person, and I think it's got to be, if when we're putting like a well-rounded piece of art of who he is, that's got to be in there.
really allowed me to have the opportunity to articulate how I feel about me and about what I give to people of myself. Because I give so much of myself, and yet there's times where people are like, well, that's not enough, or they expect it to be a different kind of like a feeling way. I don't tell these stories because I feel sorry for myself, because I fucking don't. I think that like these stories are why I am the way that I am, and that's one of my superpowers.
And see, I never would have like, that's the outside in, like, and the shit this was really fucking amazing for me, because I don't live like the affirmations, man. Every time you see me post an affirmation, that's some shit I had to tell myself. It's the positive version of an extremely negative series of thoughts. It's generally how my days go. And I'm super fucking depressed. And I can have a great night and then wake up the next day and like it's super hard. Like, you know what the greatest thing I do every fucking day is? I'm gonna tell you right now, the greatest fucking thing. This is some shit I'm about to tell y'all. This is some hardcore shit. I brush my teeth and floss before I go to bed.
So do I.
It's fucking huge for me. You know how hard it is for me? Like,
it's like exercising. It's like getting up to
you gotta like
agree.
Like it's fucking super hard. But it's a small thing, because I went to the dentist, right? And when we did the premiere for Party McFly, I was on YouTube. I was in a dentist chair, right, getting a deep cleaning, and it was
like so literally at the time of
the I made them stop. I was like, hold on, I got a video premiere to do, and so I'm sitting here in a dentist chair with the fucking dentist ladies, and we're watching a music video, and my mouth is numbed up, and there was so much blood. It was fucking awesome. I love pain, like random pain and shit. I'm not like I said, a masochist, but like if I know I'm get lined up for some like extreme, like interesting, unique pain, like getting stabbed in the mouth with a needle, let's fucking do it. I'm not gonna run from that. You know what I'm saying? It hurts so much because it's rare. So let's just appreciate it, because all it is your body expressing. It's like a lottery ticket, except this, the prize isn't that good unless you learn how to appreciate everything. And the prize of that experience, though, was that, like she said, like if you floss more, because you're lucky, you don't have any real cavities or any real damage or nothing. But if you floss more, it'll any of your sensitivities will just go, because your gum health will really bounce back. And just that little 3-minute experience at night of flossing my fucking teeth and then brushing my teeth before I go to sleep, it's like getting up and drinking water every day. It's fucking incredible. And that's what I think in life, like, because I mean, it's super hard for me to look at myself or anything. So like brushing your teeth in the mirror, fucking forget it. But like, the whole thing about it though, is it's just a universal message. It's the fact that one little small change consistently in life can change your life. And then not only that, it can improve your health, and it can make you be who you are, because we don't end up fucked up from the start. By the grace of God, or whatever you want to call it. If we're born healthy with 10 and 10 and 2, and you know what I'm saying, 2, you know what I mean, and 2, then you motherfucking like you got more luck than a huge amount of people in this world. Like so many. So if you get to get the game on fucking 4 stars in Street Fighter and other motherfuckers are born on 8, how the fuck are you gonna make this shit harder for yourself? You know what I'm saying? When you can do these little small things every single day, and really what they are is acts of appreciation. Because if you are thankful for something you're given, I hope that you will treat it with appreciation. We treat a lot of the things that we love like shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. But if I can take one small act of appreciation and dedicate that shit, you know what I'm saying, consistently every day, like, and not hate myself when I fail, like, that's a win. And so that's kind of like who I am in a lot of ways. And I do a lot of small things consistently for bigger results. And that's been the story of all this for me. Like, all this is for me is it's still me sitting in a room, hoping nobody gives a fuck about me, writing rhymes on a computer or on a receipt or something, and then recording it and thinking, maybe one day somebody will hear it, and getting like a MySpace message and some shit saying, yo, you really helped me. You stopped me from killing myself. That's it. Like, that's better than fucking anything. Like, you can buy a blue check now, but you can't buy that shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, man, I deposit into the account and I don't look for anything back from it. And that's it. I'm dropping pennies in the well.
Yeah. Well, I love it. You know, I have a lot of respect for you, and do appreciate that. But before I let you go, we need to talk about your upcoming show and shows. Key one here in Rhode Island, you're going to be playing at the Met in Pawtucket on April 21st. That's with Sage Francis on his return to Rhode Island. Jesse the Tree, who's climbing the ladder here in Rhode Island. One of the most respected artists here in the States. And then, BlackLiq and Mopes. So I'm going to start with you, Mopes, just because you are a native Rhode Islander. When was the last time you played in Rhode Island? Everyone's talking about the return of Sage. I'm talking about the return of Mopes.
I think the last one was 2012 at the church show that B. Dolan used to throw.
Yeah, at FET. Yeah.
At FET, yep. That was the last time I performed in Rhode Island. And the last time I performed was like 2013. I did a tour with Scroobius Pip in England, Ireland, and I thought that was it for me. So I haven't performed in almost 10 years.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Good. I mean, I was like getting shows like probably a year or 2 years ago, and I was just like, nope. And then Sage does the first it was the Denver showcase, and then it was the Rhode Island show. I'm like, I gotta fucking do it. I can't not do this shit. So I've been, practicing, and I feel good. I have like 2 warm-up shows that I'm doing in New Hampshire and Vermont just to kind of like work the cobwebs out and shit. But I feel good, man. It's gonna be crazy going back there because the last time I performed at the Met, I don't know, it might have been 2010.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? It's been forever. So it's going to be, and then, with having my guys there, and, it's going to be dope. So,
luckily actually the first time we met, you played at Troop. But can you talk about what you're going to be bringing to this show? I mean, you're known for your live show. What have you got in store for Rhode Island, on this bigger stage,
Last time, the best part of being at Troop, right, was Grim. Shout out to Grimothy. I love that motherfucker. He's such a nice guy. But Grimothy, the schedule was fucked up, dog. So he stopped me all the way near the end of this shit. And I motherfucking had flown up there in the same day, and it had no like reprieve whatsoever. And I got there early in a rainstorm in an unfamiliar area. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not a big food dude. And I was on Super E, and I had to run for like a fucking hour straight. And and I was up in Rhode Island Dolo, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm in the joint, and I got that Richmond state of mind, yo. So I'm walking around and shit. And I'll never forget, I heard some broad say to somebody else, "Oh my God, he smiled." And I was like, yo, I'm right where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? Like this level of desperation and pain is exactly what I need. I need to feel that gnawing fucking drive of like, why didn't you eat food? Because I'm not going to, motherfucker. I'm gonna eat these people. And you know what I'm saying? And like that fucking sense of just like complete fucking disgust and revolt because you have to choose. I love fucking choosing. And a body that fucking show and I had a great time doing that shit. But this time, and I met so many like nice people and just people that are fucking great, man. So this time I'm motherfucking looking forward to seeing everybody else in their element. But like I don't know how long our sets are for that shit. So I'm gonna do, it's gonna be an all Mopes produced set minus like my little intro thing more than likely. Because I have a secret weapon. I always start everything with to pay homage to all the people who believed in me and my start. But I'm gonna fucking I'm trying to find a creative way to say it. I am going to show up, right? And I'm going to step on to this stage, right? Now there's going to be this thing that happens, right? Like my left foot is going to hit the stage, right? But then my right foot's going to be in your ass. I'm going to kick your fucking ass from the very fucking start. I'm going to put my foot in your motherfucking ass so deep, right? That you're going to be motherfucking smiling my motherfucking toenails. You know what I'm saying? I'm going on, and I'm going to be wearing a shoe. So think about that. Toenails within the shoe all the way through. We're breaking through. You know what I'm saying? Like when the Hulk grows and he gets big and his clothes tear, I'm snapping in this motherfucker like that. I'm not going to wear sunglasses or anything with a stupid design on them, but I'm going to snap like a fucking Slim Jim situation in this joint. There's no walls, but I'm coming in like the Kool-Aid man. You understand me? Except nobody's going to get a single drop. I'm going to fucking drown you niggas instead. You know what I'm saying? For whatever amount of time I'm on that fucking stage, whenever I fucking go up there to talk my shit, as Jesse saw in fucking Denver when we went the fucking last time, I am going to go 130%. I'm going to body every motherfucking situation of it. I can forget every motherfucking lyric and I'm still going to fuck y'all up with something. That's how serious I am about this because you motherfuckers are on my list. We've got a war debt. This is blood, sweat, and motherfucking tears. I get to live once and y'all motherfuckers are going to die.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do.
So you need to be there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, if you want to drown in Kool-Aid and get with a foot in your ass.
Yes.
Show up, Met, on April 21st. Tickets available now. But yeah, seriously, head to the metri.com, pick up tickets. It's going to be a super special night. Even from my point of view, and reached out to Sage a couple weeks ago, and I was like, hey, I've got a buddy that does video work, does documentary films. Can we like do kind of like a little mini doc of this thing, of this like return? So Sage is into that. So we're going to be capturing the night.
Nice.
I just kind of take people through, hopefully you guys meeting up before the show, loading in all of that kind of ins and outs. So try to do some short interviews with you, interviews with fans, some performance stuff. So yeah, we're going to be doing that with my buddy David Lawler, run of the mill. Shout out to him, a fantastic person, like award-winning documentary filmmaker here in Rhode Island. And yeah, from what I've heard, Storm and Sage have got like a strange, famous yard sale that's happening where they're bringing out some,
that's going to be
some of the deep, things that are in the back closets of stuff. Online. So yeah, you want to be there.
I'm gonna fucking fly up and like get off the plane. I don't even think I'm like doing hotel action. Like I'm so serious about this fucking situation. Basically, I gotta figure out how to get to the fucking venue. But I'm a motherfucking get off the plane.
Listen, we'll get you to the venue.
Okay. My flight comes in.
I'll pick you up if you need, man.
Perfect.
Small enough that someone will get you to the venue.
All right. So like I fucking get off the plane and like it's like a midday kind of thing. So this is how this week is flowing. I'm coming up there, right? I'm gonna get up after a serious evening of a 2-a-day workout. It'll be Friday. I will rise from the ashes of my grave. I will fucking go to this airport, let them ocular and x-ray pat me down. I'm gonna get on a plane, look angry, feel good. Get off that plane, get on another one, probably feel angry, look good. Get off the
Listen, you know what this is doing?
What's this doing?
I shouldn't even say this, but I think the third BlackLiq album and Mopes album is a fucking action movie.
Well, listen, this is how it's going down.
That's what I'm saying. This is what
there's lots of finger guns being sprayed. I'm stepping off the motherfucking plane and I'm gonna look around angrily. And then apparently someone is gonna be there to get me instead of me having to stare at my phone even more angrily. I'm going to get to this fucking venue. There might be a sound check, there might not be. I will find a restroom and then I will walk out of that restroom. And I will have with me and within my carry-on, because I'm not checking a fucking bag, I'm going to have with me various forms of different merch and different things that I'm going to hate. I'm going to disdain the process of having to sell them to people, but they're going to fucking pay for them, or I'm going to make them take them. And then after that, when the set takes place, they will all die, as we aforementioned, one foot. I will remove my foot from the rectal orifices of everyone and oral. And then I will, at the end of the night, be back on a flight by like 5 something in the morning to land in Richmond so that I can land, get from the airport majestically, land at my crib, transform, spin like a Sims character, go the fuck back out, play a block party with my band where we can't curse. No curse words. I'm going to do a song called Stimulus Fuck without cursing. And then I'm going to rock that show with the band. I'm going to help them put the gear back at the space, more than likely. Go back to the crib, spin around again, go back out to Gallery 5, do a spoken word event where I'm going to challenge the crowd to ask me questions and stump my freestyle ability. They can't fucking stop me. It can't be done. I can freestyle about anything at any given motherfucking time. Don't test me. I'm going to do that shit. And then after that, I'm going to step back, motherfucking out that joint. And then that night, I'm going to go do my radio show from 1 to 3 in the motherfucking morning. And after I'm done servicing records and blessing the masses with the illest hip hop possible, I'm going to return to my abode, not humble, but ready. I'm going to pass the fuck out at some point, probably about 5 or 6. I'm going to rise from the grave. I'm going to stretch twice as much. That's right. Not one set of stretches, 2 sets of stretches. And then I'm going to run my virtual 10K from the Monument 10K. Around the block. That's 12 times around my block. After that, I will take a shower, continue to post and write a journal entry and give you an affirmation on social media after I post some sort of flexi picture. And then after that, I will begin to think about what the fuck I'm going to do, because the next day I have to take my mom to a neurologist appointment at 8:30 in the fucking morning. And I hate the morning. And then after that, I will have band practice with the band and get right back to doing the radio show. I won't work out because I will have ran 6.2 miles the day before. And then on that Tuesday, after I do my radio show from 11 to 1, I will finally, hopefully recharge. But this is how serious I am about this weekend. And it all starts with me fucking y'all up there, man. I'm dead ass about this shit. You know, your ass is going to be dead. You see?
Yes.
Action film.
Dude, I swear to God, that's the concept in my head right now.
There you
All
go.
right. Well,
I feel
you
it.
know, I'm about that action, you know.
Yeah, no, I know.
BDA, yo.
And listen, you have like the wrestling promo, like the look. It's already there, dude. We got it.
All
Cool.
right.
I look forward to that. But yeah, before I let you go, what's the best way for people to stay connected with you? Is it through social channels, through emails, or
any kind of
through
anything, man.
Black
social media?
Mopes? Yeah.
All my social media is BlackLiq, BlackLiq, one word. You message me, just listen to the dogs that bark that don't bite. Don't send me a voice text or a voice DM, all right? But besides that, I'm here for it. Any kind of thing. I suck at doing comments on social media because it means people will go back and forth, and I don't like to use my phone. I don't like to stare at that shit. But I'm always open to that. If you have music or a hip hop artist, you want your music to be played on the radio in my area and along with my network of DJs, holler at me or just check my profile page on IG for the instructions to mention music. I love to play it FCC clean only. On top of that, though, just remember positivity, perspective, and patience are the 3 P's that I help you deal with your bullshit on a daily basis. BlackLiq.
Nice.
Yeah, and Mopes on Twitter, Mopes on Instagram, and then if you want label stuff, go to StrangeFamousRecords.com. All of our stuff is there. Merch.
Yeah, check out the back catalog, get some tapes.
Bios. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, thank you both. This was awesome. It was really cool.
James, thank you, man, for always supporting, helping out and shit. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you in a short time at the Mets. And
yeah.
Make sure you stretch for that foot coming.
I don't know.
James he's gonna be with the crew. The crew's gonna.
Well, then, make sure you stretch your sense of shame and guilt when you see other people get that foot.
I think what Black is saying is no one is safe. You might be hanging out backstage most, but you're like, oh shit, is that a foot in my ass? And you're like, I thought I was safe, you know.
Nobody's safe. I did a show with Prof one time, and Prof was like, yo, he's walking around here like a caged animal. And is he always like this? And my man BC was like, that's just Black, man. That's just how he is. And I was just like, yeah, man, this is what the fuck I do, yo. So I'm really excited. And one last thing I gotta say. I gotta say this. You brought it up earlier. Mopes' album Unwound is amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. And after you get tired of listening to me, please listen to that album. Because despite like how great the Mopes EP is, Unwound is really special to me. There's a certain sort of like intention and there's addiction and just the storytelling and just really the weight of the words and how it hits so well with the low end of the record. It's a really special album. And I really hope that people will take the time to experience that because I'm really proud of that album. You're welcome. I fucking love it. And also the red and white of it is like the scheme that sonically it does come with, like how you had produced the red and white fucking 7-inch and shit. So like it's a really fucking beautiful album though.
Thanks,
and
man.
Like life is like a short-term memory. So just try to remember that shit.
And also check out BlackLiq's catalog. I mean, you have, I don't know, 20 freaking records. I don't even know, man. Like, just
I'll say this. Black put out 2 really good records, one with Obliv and one single with Dub Sonata. I know that Black is working with Man Bites Dog doing stuff. So yeah, check out his work with Man Bites Dog. I think just support. I mean, Black is just he's a real inspirational dude, and he's a real dude. Like there are a lot of people that want to like give advice and be on some bullshit, and Black is actually real with it. He's a fucking solid dude. So if you're gonna follow somebody and like pay attention to somebody, he's the guy to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
This was really cool. And I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man.
Yes, he will, yo.
Have a good night, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to pretend to be happy. I just focus on the present, I don't focus on the past. I just focus on reflecting, I'm not looking back. I don't even really care, nigga, I am just here. None of this is on purpose. Fuck it, I can really care less. I'd have had enough stress. If I don't have the answer, I take a good guess. I am underestimated every day by myself. Fuck it, my mom worries every day about everybody else. I tell her put yourself first, fuck everybody else. I thought Pops was selfish, he was afraid. There's things that when lost cannot be replaced. My brother has feelings, one day I just stopped. Fuck it, I belong in a percentage. So he said that I'm autistic. It's like having faith but not being that religious. It's hard to move forward when it seems contradictive. Cause even though I'm sober right now, I'm so addicted. The distance, I'm so isolated and I love it. I live a public life but I hate to be in public. People ask me all the time for advice so I give it. I'm really like this is not at all a gimmick. Don't ask me how I did it, ask me how I do it. I'm still going through it, any moment I can lose it. These niggas don't get me, these bitches I don't trust them. It is what it is, I just say fuck it. Don't ask me how I did it, ask me how I do it. I'm still going through it, any moment I can lose it. These niggas don't get me, these bitches I don't trust them. It is what it is, I just say fuck it. So much on my mind, yet they ask about my hair. This is not free form, this is I don't care. I don't need a loctician, my mind been twisted. I dress insipid, at best indifferent. If I itch, I scratch, if it's scratch, I itch it. Fuck it, I never been this happy, never been this depressed. My friend got married, he still paid for sex. Sometimes with his wife, sometimes someone else. The way I see it though, at least he honest with himself. Some things only last if you fuck it up worse. Fuck it, it's not about the cost, it's about the worth. We can have a conversation first by the merch. I feel the same way every time I write a verse. Even if you quit the job, you can't quit the work. Don't ask me how I did it, ask me how I do it. I'm still going through it, any moment I can lose it. These niggas don't get me, these bitches I don't trust them. It is what it is, I just say fuck it. Don't ask me how I did it, ask me how I do it. I'm still going through it, any moment I can lose it. These niggas don't get me, these bitches I don't trust them. It is what it is, I just say fuck it.